The surgeon's scalpel performed a miracle. The nosy beekeeper from cows became a true gentleman with refined features. He remembered how much trouble his nose caused Jeremy. It was huge, like it had been bit by bees. Therefore, his classmates teased him as the beekeeper, with the implication that bees bite him all the time. When his father, the accountant Paul Dugan Irons, left the family, he was less worried about his parents' departure, blaming them only for offending his mother and having an ugly crooked nose. How terrible he felt in front of the mirror. My mother couldn't get over the divorce for a long time and confessed to Jeremy. Your father turned out to have a double life. He kept the existence of a second wife a secret from me. Maybe that's why, after graduating from high school, Irons began working in the theater at the age of 18 as an assistant to the head of the stage department. His duties included mainly cleaning the stage. He then enrolled in acting classes at Bristol's Old Vic. At the Bristol School of Dramatic Art, he became the most prominent student, and Irons was invited to join the Old Vic Company, where he immediately received leading roles and a high salary. He decided to use the first earnings to have plastic surgery. The surgery was successful, but it didn't rid him of his insecurities or make him a more liberated individual. To this day, Irons continues to make an involuntary gesture when he sits, for example, at a restaurant or talks in a private room. He rests his chin on one hand and covers his nose casually with his other fingers. His marriage to actress Julia Hallam lasted about a year. On March 28, 1978, Jeremy married Irish actress Sinead Cusack, whom he had been dating for only a few months. He fell in love with her when he saw her on the stage of the Royal National Theatre as Ophelia. Sinead, with blonde hair, was the epitome of gentleness, forgiveness, and femininity. Sinead was raised in a wealthy family by the famous dramatic actor Cyril Cusack. Her parents were concerned about her affair with the common football player, George Beast, and the appearance of Irons, a man from their circle, was greeted by Sinead's relatives with enthusiasm. Soon, the couple welcomed a son, Samuel. 7 years later, Max arrived. Sinead never reprimanded her husband for anything, asked for nothing, or suspected anything. Irons couldn't decide whether his wife was an innocent soul and moral person, or if she cynically preferred to turn a blind eye to his work, so as not to upset her well-being or the peaceful course of their family life. He stayed with her, cared for the children, and nothing else mattered. In 1981, Irons became a star in both film and TV. Fame came from roles in Return to Brightshed on TV and The French Lieutenant's Woman in film, where he teamed with Meryl Streep. After that, producers began to actively pursue him, and he became a sought-after actor. Even in Hollywood, in the mid-80s, he even received offers for James Bond roles in 3 movies, but turned them down. He was always irresistibly attracted to women, and the ugly duckling who lived in him, a tall 1.90 meters handsome man, dictated certain types of mistresses. She must be physically fragile and weak and harmless. In the movie Tightly Bound, he fell in love with the miniature Canadian Genevieve Bijou, in Kafka with the slender American Teresa Russell, and in Damage with the sophisticated French woman Juliette Binoche. In 1993, on the set of The House of Spirits, he had an affair with Glenn Close. At the premiere of the film, a journalist snuck up to Jeremy and asked, "Is it true you had an affair?" Instantly, forgetting about his code of gentlemanly equanimity, Jeremy knocked down the reporter on the carpet. Both Glenn Close and Sinead were present. The love relationship did not last long and ended immediately after filming. One day, when Jeremy Irons' son fell ill, he needed an urgent consultation with a surgeon in London. At that time, Jeremy lived in the luxurious Hampstead area and made acquaintances in aristocratic circles. When Teresa Russell's call alarmed him, he was packing his sons for school. Teresa's voice trembled. "Jeremy, this is Teresa. Remember me? We starred in Kafka together. Jamie, there's been a disaster and I'm calling for help. You're the only Englishman I know." His wife looked at Jeremy questioningly, but he calmly told her, "I'm sorry, ma'am. This is a private residence and not an information desk. Jeremy hung up the phone and told his wife indifferently it was a wrong number. Every time Irons' love affair came to an end, he wanted to buy his wife an expensive present. After the affair with Teresa, he purchased a mansion in her name in the town of Wallington, which is where she grew up. The new house had a wonderful garden and a swimming pool. There was also an underground garage with space for 50 cars and a spacious stable. In 2002, Irons almost revealed his secret relationships with Patricia Koss, whom he co-starred with Claude Lelouch in the movie. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the journalists found out about the stormy nights the lovers spent in the Moroccan hotel, Sid Pacific. Sinead obtained these publications while Jeremy was on set. He, of course, denied everything. Moreover, he spoke in a low voice, so Patricia, who was in the room with him, would not overhear, calling his wife to Morocco to make sure it was all an obvious lie. Irons knew perfectly well that Sinead wouldn't budge, as she appeared on the stage of London's theatre every evening in the image of Queen Victoria. With his new lovers, he forgot about his inner freak and could enjoy life. Love, spending money, buying rare paintings by artists, driving a car, and replenishing his impressive collection. After an affair with Koss, Jeremy presented his wife with the ancient castle he had bought in her home country, Ireland, in the county of Cork. The dilapidated structure, over 600 years old, was located on an island connected to the mainland by a peninsula, an ideal location for a family vacation. In all interviews, Irons praised his wife for her wisdom, describing himself as an old-fashioned family man. Nevertheless, he frequently came under the spotlight of paparazzi cameras. In Soho, he was seen in the company of an easygoing young woman. Another time, he visited a strip club. Then someone filmed him using a hidden camera during a party. In one of Stephen King's stories, Irons was described as the epitome of a typical pervert. Madonna refused to work with him, describing Jeremy as amorphous and asexual. He is known for playing characters torn apart by violent passions. In Damage, he played a father who fell in love with the son's fiancée. In M. Butterfly, he was a diplomat who did not know his mistress was a man and Chinese spy. In Lolita, he portrayed Humbert Humbert. Jeremy Irons' performances are masterful in evoking feelings of attraction and repulsion from the audience. He embodied an aristocrat in the movie The Wrong Side of Fate, which earned him an Academy Award. Irons has managed to confuse both his wife and the world at large. No one knows exactly who he is, a playboy or nerd. Sinead was a bright light in his fractured world. She was able to navigate any conflict or deadlock situation. In the morning, he woke up to the aroma of cinnamon cookies and coffee. A soft terry towel waited in the bathroom, and the bedding exuded a violet scent. He couldn't imagine life without her, who had been there for him all along. How could she get away with it? Poor thing. But then Jeremy got a surprise. Behind his wife's seemingly perfect mask, there was a secret. 10 years ago, when he met Irons in 1968, Sinead gave birth to his child from a married director, Vincent Dowling. She gave up their son, and he was adopted by a married couple, David Boyd Barrett and Valerie. All this time, Sinead had been hiding this secret. Several decades later, the actress' secret came out in the press and made headlines. In 2007, the Irish media discovered that Sinead Cusack was the biological mother of Irish politician Richard Boyd Barrett. Following the publication of this news, mother and son reunited and started communicating. The marriage between Jeremy Irons and Sinead is more than 40 years old. In a statement about his marriage, Irons said, "I am a very complicated person, and so is my wife. It is very difficult for us to get along, although all relationships are the same. Very difficult. But each time we overcome differences, the bond becomes stronger."